to make money.
What's up, everybody? Episode 55, NFL Week 10. Coming right back at you. What's going on?
It's getting closer to the end.
Closer to the end. Closer to the playoffs. Playoffs. You know, we were just talking about this. It's like 7 teams in each conference make the playoffs. Jets are a 10 seed right now, so we're creeping up there, right? 3 and 6. No, not really, but 7 and 2 though. You're feeling pretty good. Couldn't really have a better start. You want to be the Chiefs, maybe, but outside of that,
Always want to be the Chiefs.
yep, yeah. So not going the worst in the world. Look, it's Veterans Day weekend coming up, so we're gonna go do a little gambling outside of the sports betting, maybe the casino gambling.
Because what a better way to celebrate our veterans than us gambling.
Absolutely. Yep. We got the camo salute to service on right now. So shout out to the veterans. And hope you all have a couple extra drinks this weekend for them. All right, let's start it off as we always do. Let's face it, people in the news, players, coaches, and so on and such. And first up, we got Dennis Allen, Saints coach, fired. Ooh, rough one. Start 2 and 7. 7 straight losses, and he got fired. I mean, it's tough. It's also tough because everybody around the league says this guy is actually a fantastic coach and everything. And unfortunately, they got hit with a crazy amount of injuries, including Derek Carr, obviously.
I think they're kind of blaming him for some of those injuries. Just
you could, I mean,
why do you have so many versus other coaches?
It's true. They did that with Robert Saleh last year. They said, why do you have so many injuries and stuff? But they had 10 guys on injury reserve plus 4 more guys on the PUP, which is just like, how do you have that many guys out and are competitive with backups? So they couldn't overcome it, and he lost his job. So
He made it longer than Salah did, though.
yeah. So tough for him. But look, the Saints are marching out of the playoff hunt.
Anyway, we also have Puka Nacua. He may be out for a while. It looks like he'll be playing this game, but he did a little no-no and got ejected from the game last weekend. I wasn't really paying attention to the game solely. There were a few other games on that we had money on. But he was getting beat. The guy was talking so much shit into him. He said, and this is through his own words, it's like he just couldn't take it. He got very frustrated. Ends up making the wrong move. That guy grabs the ball and ends up intercepting it. And Puka ends up punching him right in the helmet, in the head. They ejected him from the game. Instead of walking off the field, he decided to sit on the bench for like 7 minutes, I believe they counted. And then eventually took him off the field where all the fans booed him. He had to backtrack, say emotions got the best of him, blah, blah, blah. But, he really you kind of had a second to think about that. Like, that was a punch in the head. And people talk shit on that's football. They couldn't talk to you. You need to be able to deal with that. He couldn't deal with it. So fine, he did what he did, but this is more of something to look out for. At some point, he might be suspended. Mm-hmm. And it could be a few games, which could change everything for the team. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's funny. The times that you see where there's punches thrown on the field, it's always 2 things, usually. It's going to be either a receiver and a corner who are going up against each other back and forth and talking a lot of shit, and they're right in each other's face, or maybe like a lineman, offensive and defensive lineman who are doing the same, where they're going up against each other every fucking play. And some of these corners out there know how to get to somebody's head and chirp. Mm-hmm. And so it's rough. I used to remember Calvin Johnson, the big Megatron dude on the Lions. I remember him beating the shit out of somebody because they were talking too much shit, but he got ejected and they kind of won, so tough one.
It's part of the game.
I know.
All strategy.
It is.
If you can't beat them, talk shit to them.
Yep.
I don't know. Terrible.
Yep. So next up, we got Nick Bosa. I mean, so this is an interesting one. After the game, he interrupts an interview and he's got his MAGA hat on. And which kind of almost seems like innocent enough, right? He's showing everybody knows this guy is voting for Trump. That's kind of his thing.
True, but
the NFL's got rules, and
they clearly stated rules.
Well, especially post Kaepernick, they literally doubled down and said, let's negotiate rules with the players union and stuff. And they said no like messages that are not pre-approved, especially no political stuff and whatever else. So
no gear outside of the NFL provided gear.
Yep. And that includes, they said, pregame, anywhere that the TV announcers could be around and all that. So might be suspended. I don't think he's going to be, but he's probably going to be fined. So that's an interesting one to come down. And what we just learned was that all the fines, apparently, we thought it just goes to like a Goodell, get distributed out to all the owners, and they all like laugh and eat caviar. But apparently that all those fines actually go to the foundation, and it's donated money. So when people get fined, they get fined big. It actually goes somewhere good, so that's not the worst thing in the world. But so maybe it worked. You know, Nick Bosa with the hat, Trump ended up winning. So was he the difference? We'll never know. But let's assume he was not the difference.
All right, we're going to move on. All right, the last one we have, this is kind of just a funny little fucking thing to bring up. Yeah, Michael Thomas, he is not even playing on any field right now, but he used to play for the Saints with Derek Carr. And I guess, well, Carr ended up throwing a really shitty pass that was too high for Chris Olave to catch, and he ended up getting a huge concussion, stretchered out. I remember interrupting him during, like, oh my God, what happened there? You know, he's fine. You know, Olave's fine now. He's going to be out this week. We'll get into that for the injury report. But anyway, long story short, on X, Michael Thomas sends out that, you know, Derek Carr is ass. It's his fault that Chris got hurt and has a concussion. If he knew what he was doing, you know, he would be, that would have never happened. Trying to get his friend hurt, his teammate hurt on purpose. Just all this shit. A lot of ass was used too, by the way. Just ass, dude is ass. And Derek Carr says, you know, in response, he doesn't read things like that, but this is the one and only player, and he's played on a lot of, and I quote, a lot of teams with a lot of people, and Michael Thomas was the only one I could not form a relationship with. I've tried. I've reached out to him after he no longer was on the team. Nothing. I think he's got some demons to deal with, and that's where he's going to leave it. But it's kind of interesting little commentary back and forth for
I love it.
A second.
The guy who's like out and he's like just talking shit for no reason. Like,
No
and
reason.
Derek Carr seems like he's the nicest guy, which
Yeah.
is even better.
He's just like, I don't know. He's got some things to deal with, I guess.
It's like him and like Kirk Cousins feel like they're the same camp. Like kind of a cheeseball white dude, Jesus guy.
Cheese ball.
Yep.
We don't mind cheese ball on occasion, though.
All right, next up, just to go over this, the deadline hit already this week. So just to recap the trades that happened. Obviously, we saw the receivers that got moved around earlier with the Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, and Devontae Adams. But there was a couple other guys that got moved around. I think most notably is always to look at these teams and say who are buyers and who are sellers. And obviously, sellers are the shit teams. So we look at the Browns, the Panthers, the Titans, all shipped 2 guys away. So basically admitting defeat on their season, which makes sense. And then the Ravens adding 2 players. So they added a wide receiver, Deontay Johnson, who's really good. And then also they added a corner, which Tre'Davious White, who used to be a former Bill. And and then the Lions, though, they finally picked up the replacement for Aiden Hutchinson.
Because they need more weapons.
I know. But look, I think they think about that. Like, that was a piece that could get them to the Super Bowl. So they picked up a guy from the Browns, pass rusher, Zadarius Smith. So, interesting little thing. They said Cooper Kupp might have been shipped away, and they were trying actively to get him off the Rams. I guess he's got a shit contract for them, and he's been kind of dealing with injuries and stuff, and they couldn't get a deal done. So
That's shocking because some of these people, you're like, why did you take this one? But I get the money versus the talent. It's just like everybody knows Cooper Kupp's name. But
yeah, no, I'm surprised at that too. Like, nobody was a buyer of him. What's up with that? So maybe they wanted too much.
Ooh, how did we do betting? Again, some of us did better than others, but some of us don't put enough damn money on our bets and are still afraid to because we don't trust ourselves yet.
Yep. Yeah, look, I lost 3 units this week.
Cool.
Luckily, I had a couple other bets that are not on here. So we're not putting like bets we do live, this and that. I had, some prop bet type things and everything. So I was probably more evenish, maybe down 1 unit for the week. But yeah, my lock didn't hit. Who was that?
I mean, I've said this on this podcast. I've said it to you 1,000 times off this podcast. Stop putting your money on the Bills.
I'm staying away from them.
They are a great team. in my mind, but in the world of gambling, they're a good team because they don't cover, but they win games. And I hate when you're all upset afterwards because they didn't cover, and I feel somewhat responsible, yet I had nothing to do with it. And I can't just cheer for the fact that Tyler Bass kicked an amazing 61-yard field goal to get us the squeak by the little win. Now, again, we all looked at the Bills like, this -6 easy should be not a problem. But we had so many holes in our defense. If you watch that game, they had Waddle and Hill just going through, and Mostert just going through, and like no problem. And I'm just watching, it's like the Red Sea's parting. So hopefully they'll get that shit together. But that was not a positive thing that you saw, and hence that's why they only won by 3 and not by the 6.
Look, that game, and as a bettor, right? I mean, everybody looks at it and says, "Oh, great game." Comes down to the 3 points. You're looking at it. The Bills go up 27-20. They're covering. And then shout out to Tua. I mean, he threw that one ball on the sideline to Waddle that he turns the corner and it gets a big first down on, and then drives him down the field to tie the game up. It was pretty badass. Unfortunately, Allen and the boys came back and said, "No, we're going to do this, and we're not even going overtime. We're going to win with a 61-yarder." Amazing. Was I hoping it would go to overtime so the Bills would get the ball, go down, score, and I could take a push? Yes, I was. But it didn't happen.
All we know, what we learned is Josh Allen is still the Dolphins' daddy.
Yeah, he is. I mean, look, your Chargers thing was over before it started, pretty much. I mean, that game was pretty easy.
That was a fun, easy lock of the week. I just kept pointing. I'm like, although there was a period of 2 quarters, I believe. No, 3 quarters. They ended the half 20-3, and nothing happened till like the end of the 4th quarter. Which, look, again, I was covering the whole time, so it was fun. But I'm just like, really, nobody's scoring at all. Like, not even the Chargers against the Browns in all these minutes. But it's okay. That covered. I did lose on the Raiders. Man, Raiders, I had so much hope and faith in you that you could like not win against the Bengals, but that you would cover by the +7, and it was looking good for a little while, and then it went to shit later.
I think it was 7-7, 10-7. You're like, ooh, they're hanging in with them.
And then it went to the, But listen, it's the Bengals. It shouldn't have been the case, but I was kind of hopeful.
Yep, and Jared Goff and the Lions are the truth. I mean, they go into everybody says, "Oh, they play in the dome," and I do it all the time. And I say that, but we bet them anyway. Packers, cold, rain, this and that. No problem. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Lions are good. That's a really good division that they have there too, with the freaking Packers and the Vikings and the Lions all freaking fighting it out. There's gonna be one of those 3 teams is gonna be like hoping to get a wild card. It's a rough one.
But it is funny though. You mentioned the Vikings. Like I won that bet, but like with them squeaking it through, that should have been a dominating game. That over should have hit by the Vikings themselves. And no, instead it was a closer game, and they just happened to cover. It's, you can't tell. You just never can.
That's right.
That's right.
All right, next up, injury report. A lot of injuries this week. Some people are not even on this list. I know the Jets they have a freaking long list of guys that are questionable. Probably going to have a couple people not playing off of that list. But starting out the big one, though, Dak Prescott. I mean, not that they were doing that well with him, but, I mean...
What is it going to look like now without him?
I know the backup's okay, but yeah, for him to be out for a couple weeks, that's a big one for them, especially a guy they just gave all that money to. But the other way around, McCaffrey's coming back, so it looks like he's probably going to be playing, just coming back off the IR. He got hit with that HGH up in Germany and stuff, and hopefully they got him right. But we'll see. That should add a little firepower to the Niners. And then Zach Moss for the Bengals, unfortunately, out with a neck. Put him on IR. Not great.
Yeah. Well, then you got CeeDee Lamb possibly out. So you got no Dak Prescott, maybe no CeeDee Lamb. Like the Cowboys, you know where your money needs to go, folks. That's an easy one.
That is true.
And then A.J. Brown, he's questionable. Not sure about that one, but where they're really...
Yeah, it's been.
Towards.
They said it's kind of like day to day, and they're just going to check him out. And so they, even just as of today, they were like, we don't know. And then you said Olave, that's right. Out. Mm-hmm. And he's actually had a bunch of concussions through his career. It's not a good thing.
This one was a bad one where they had to take him out on a board and just.
He's in like Tua category, so that's not good. DK Metcalf probably coming back or probably playing for the Seahawks, and then they need him. I mean, they've kind of been disappointing, I think. The Seahawks, up and down,
Yeah, but definitely down more without him. So.
Definitely.
So they need him. And then we got T. Higgins from the Bengals. He's questionable. And Keon Coleman, my man, my rookie, he's questionable. He ended up hurting his wrist. Like, he didn't come out of the game or anything for it, but they did x-rays. There is no broken bones, but now they're spending the next few days trying to figure out how bad the ligament damage is and what needs to be done. So he's kind of day-to-day. I mean, I want him in all the time, but I would prefer him to sit out another week instead of really doing some bad damage to that.
Yeah, get right, you know.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what they say, but keep that in mind with the Bills.
All right, let's roll into those games. Thursday Night Football, pretty good game, actually. You know, we got the Bengals at the Ravens in a divisional matchup. And we just talked about 2 injuries that the Bengals had there with T. Higgins and what's his face?
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss, running back, yeah. Yeah, and look, I know this is a large spread here with the 5.5, but, I mean, how did the Ravens not... They just put up 41 points last week. I mean, Derrick Henry's a beast, a monster. Zay Flowers, the whole crew, Lamar. I don't think they can be stopped. So I think this one is a no-brainer. What's your hesitancy on betting it?
Well, because now at this point, I kind of want the Ravens to start losing.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true.
So I know you can make money off of them, but there are a couple times where I have not made money off of them.
True, yeah.
And so now I'm just mad at them, and I hope they start losing. But yeah, if I was not so emotional about football, I would definitely hammer the Ravens. So
interesting thing and this is like a proxy war where I would want the Ravens to win because you're assuming that they're going to win a division, and I would want the Bengals to not win because we're going to be fighting for a wild card spot against them as the Jets progress later here.
Right. Okay. Let's lay off that until it gets a little bit closer.
I agree. I agree.
Oh, God. Here's a shitty game, guys. This is going to be early-ass morning, Munich.
Germany.
And poor Germany gets to enjoy the New York Giants against the Panthers.
Rough.
Just not good football. I lean on the Giants here, but I'm not getting my ass up early to watch this game, nor do I care what the outcome is. But the Panthers are just terrible. They did beat somebody last week, which we will get into later because it kind of helps with one of the bets that we're doing. But Giants are still just, unfortunately, and I feel bad for you guys, fans, a joke also. So
the last 2 games they've been within a score, of the other team. So I get why they're favored here. But.
Daniel Jones, though, unfortunately finds a way to screw things up in an embarrassing way, and I think that's what's going on a lot. But yeah, they looked good last week, fighting, but you do watch some certain things that you're just like, oh God.
Yeah, and it's a long flight. I think it's about an 8-hour flight from the East Coast of the U.S. here for both of them. So who the hell knows about that? I mean, it's like the London games are a problem for these guys, let alone going further.
Yeah,
so
you don't know, yeah.
Don't bet it.
All right, well, up next we have the Steelers at the Commanders, which the Steelers are my lock of the week. I saw this, I'm like, Steelers plus points against the Commanders? Now, maybe I'm just stupid. That's very possible. But I love it. Steelers coming off a bye week. They have a very strong defense. The Commanders have been floundering a little bit. They start off strong. Then they've come into some weird losses. They just barely beat the Bears. Now, I know that's a divisional game, and that always, has something to do with it. But, they're a team of work in progress. They're a good team, but they're not there yet. The Steelers, unfortunately, have been looking better now with Russ Wilson as opposed to Fields, which I say unfortunately because Russ Wilson bothers me. I don't like him on the field. But on Sunday, I will be rooting for them to win this game and give me my lock money.
I like it too. Yeah, I don't see... look, Jaden Daniels has had flashes. We know that. But, he got tweaked with a little bit of injury 2 weeks ago. And, they're 7-2. I think that record is overstating how good they are. And the Steelers are hot right now. They're putting up points. They're putting up 25, 30 points, this and that. So I think they're going to put up points against the Commanders and won't have trouble scoring. So I'm on it.
And then we have the Vikings at the Panthers, which... I'm sorry, the Jaguars. The same damn animal.
Same thing. Who would win the fight?
Well, I've always been a fan of Panthers over Jaguars just because I think they look cooler when they walk because they're all black.
If you told me that one of them was twice the size of the other one, I would be like, okay, I have no idea what the size of those cats
I think they're actually the same size, so I don't know if
no
anyone is just. But I think Panthers are so much cooler looking.
Yeah.
But I do like leopard print clothing. So
Okay, fair.
But I'm leaning on the Vikings. Just as you can see, neither of us are actually putting money on this one because it's sad, but you don't know. I don't know. The Vikings have been kind of weird. They won 21-13 against the Colts. The Colts aren't that good, so that wasn't that great of a game. And Darnold had 3 turnovers in the first half alone, which is kind of scary. And then you've got the Jaguars, who hung in with the Eagles 28-23. So are they getting their stuff back? Are they like working on themselves? I don't know. So I would lean on the Vikings. They should be the team to win here, but I'm not sure about both of them.
Yeah. When it looked like the Eagles were going to roll, then all of a sudden the Jags came back and they showed a little life. And that's the only reason why, I would be leaning that way, because they're home now and they showed some life against the Eagles. But yeah, I want to stay away from it because I don't know who's going to show up.
All right, here's my baby. Bills at the Colts. I'm still terrified enough where I don't encourage anyone to bet on this game. I'm leaning, and just because I always lean on the Bills, I don't bet on them. But we thought they were going to demolish the Dolphins, and they had some issues. We don't know if Keon's going to be playing. He's a huge part of the team. But we do have Amari Cooper coming back, Benford and Gilliam. Those are your 3 big players that will help out for sure. And the Colts are not great.
No.
I like the Colts better with Flacco than with Richardson, but they're not a great team. So as with every game, I could give you, like, the Bills have got this, but the Bills are always putting me on a roller coaster ride of emotion. So I'm sure they'll win. I just would love it if it's like, I know by the first half that they're definitely winning this one instead of the scary, okay, fourth quarter, finally they're showing up, which here is something that, everybody should know, and I'm sure you've all noticed if you pay attention to Bills games. They come out slow pretty much every first half. They're maybe against the Jags. Even I think when they dominated against the Jags, they were still slow, and then by second half, they come out and they can either, at least they pull out a win or they demolish. But they are a slow first half team, so something to keep in mind.
Yeah, right. Wait around for their second half bet, maybe. I mean, that's probably a good strategy with them. I thought that Flacco and being named starter and stuff, that he was going to have a better game last week. They only put up like 14 points or something like that. I was like disappointed with that. So I would normally, say to bet the Bills here, but just because I'm a little sour after last week, I'm going to stay away. And I'm going to let her enjoy a win. If they win by 1, it's a win, whatever you want. But I'm not putting them on with the -4.
Yeah. What I've been saying to you for the entire season.
Yep. And then we got the Broncos at the Chiefs in a divisional game. I mean, this is a good game. 5-4 versus 8-0, right? I mean, this is one of those teams where, like, if you're looking at the schedule and you go, do you see a Chiefs getting a loss at some point? Maybe, like a team like a divisional game, Broncos, they need it. It could be. I'm betting them, though, with the 8 points.
Yeah, I think the Broncos are going to lose, but the Chiefs are not going to cover because they typically don't cover. So they'll probably win by a field goal, but certainly not 8 points. They can win by a touchdown, and you'd still cover with the Broncos. A little fun fact, Mahomes did have like a little ankle injury in the middle of the game or towards the end of the game on Monday night. No one's really talked about it. I'm sure it's fine, but maybe it's something that could be bothering him. Probably not. And they only beat the Bucks in overtime because this is what they do. So I would just definitely put my money on the Broncos. I have so many other bets, and I don't want to watch the Chiefs game at all. I don't want to pay attention, especially when the Bills are on. So I'm staying off. But I would definitely bet that if I was everybody else.
Yeah, I was watching the Manning cast on ESPN2, and during that last game with the Chiefs and the Bucks, and Jason Sudeikis is a big Chiefs fan, and he was on at halftime, and he was basically saying, like, we're right before the half, whatever, and he said, the Chiefs, like, this is the way they do it. It's like you watch them, and it goes back and forth, and he goes, it's a little bit of a dance, like it's a ballet, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, Mahomes finds out a way to win it, and then that's the Chiefs game. And then literally towards it's like they let the Bucks back in, and then all of a sudden it's tied up, and they actually brought Sudeikis back on. They called him, and he got back on, and he was like, "See, I told you." And what happens? Overtime, they just go right down and score. What a mess! And also there was an offsides, a false start penalty, should have been called, but the refs didn't see it. So
the cheats, people, they're the cheats. That's why they're gonna make it to until I kick them out of the damn playoffs.
You gotta, hopefully.
Sometime. Somebody's got to do it. All right, we've got the Falcons at the Saints. I'm all over the Falcons. The Saints, as we talked about before, are just a terrible team. They're losing it. They just fired their coach. Olave is not playing this week because of that crazy concussion he got because of not because of, but it happened partially because of a bad, poorly thrown ball by Carr. They've got no one on that team except for Alvin Kamara, but we haven't even heard him doing much. So I'm definitely putting my money on the Falcons. And the Falcons are first in their division. They've won some games. They've looked good. They're not. Are they a scary number one in their division team to go up to in the playoffs? Not really, but they're getting there. And they're making their way. So I think definitely -4 spread. No problem. Taking the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins, coming off the Achilles injury last year and starting out the season and not being able to take snaps under center and all that, and now he's starting to get a little looser. He's moving around the pocket a little bit more, and so I feel like he's coming into his own, especially in the new offense over there with the Falcons. So, and for me on this one, I was leaning on an over, but I didn't really give a shit.
Okay, well, I give a shit on the Falcons.
Yep. Niners, the Bucks.
This is rough. The Bucks look so good against the Chiefs.
I know.
Because it was shit weather. They worked so hard. They were making good plays. They could have won that game. And the Niners, they're winning, but you can't tell. Sometimes, they are coming off a bye. They've got most of their players back, which is huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big one. I'm surprised at the way the Bucks played the Chiefs because they were without Godwin and Evans, which they don't have again, but I was really surprised that some of the other guys stepped up, Scotty Miller, some of these other guys. But the Niners, you'd think they're gonna win this one coming off the bye, Kyle Shanahan, getting the boys ready to go against these guys. So I'm staying away though. It's just,
Right. And that's why we're staying away.
It's just, I don't know.
Because of what we saw with the Bucks,
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah.
Well, this is another game we're not staying away from.
Well, staying away from picking the team and the spread, right?
Well, and enjoying yourself, the
Yeah.
fucking under. I agree with the under on the Patriots at the Bears, but that's why it's the under, because it's going to be a boring-ass game with not a lot going on.
Yep. Under-over is 39, which is low, and I'm taking it anyway because I just have no faith in either team's offense at this point in the year. They both look bad, I think. So, I think this one kind of could be like a 17-13 type of game, and it hits that under, so that's what I'm going to bet.
You probably won't be watching it. You'll just find out after it's all over.
Maybe.
Oh, look, that under hit. That's nice.
Oh, a lot of TVs in the fan cave.
That's true. All right, we've got the Titans at the Chargers. This is a rarity, but I got multiple bets on this game.
If you like it,
I guess so. I didn't think I liked it that much, but I like the over 38 because it's a low over, and these two teams can score, especially the Chargers. Like I said, last week it was 20-3. That was when it might have been 27-3 at the end. So that was 27 points on their own. The Titans are not the Browns, but they're pretty close. So I also think the Chargers will win that by the 7.5 spread.
What did you say about the Browns?
So it was 27-3. I think the Titans can put up more points than the Browns did, which was 3. A total of 3 for 4 quarters.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think the over will hit here with them because mainly attributed to the Chargers, but the Titans will participate. But I still think the Chargers can win, can cover the spread at -7.5.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. It's just the 7.5. Once it goes over the 7, it feels a little weird, but definitely with the over the 38. That's a good bet. This one's a little more questionable. New York Jets going across the country to take on the Cardinals, who've actually been pretty good, surprisingly pretty good.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's a weird one. You guys played them.
First game, again, we won by a field goal or a last-minute touchdown. I can't remember, but it was close the whole time. This is where I watched Kyler Murray do all this little stuff and people couldn't catch him because he was a little
like a
on the-
joystick, you know.
Yeah, very frustrating.
Yeah, look, the reason why I'm betting the Jets on this one, their defense, and also the fact that we need it, and also the fact that, like, you know, they showed a lot of signs of life on that last Thursday night game. So they had kind of a mini bye, right? Because they're coming off a Thursday night game, so they had 10 days to now prepare for the Cardinals. The Jets defense is allowing the lowest amount of yards per play in the NFL. They're leading in that category, and somehow they only have 3 fucking wins. It's because of the offense. So, look, we saw some signs coming out of these guys that we just got to get. The only reason why I'd be a little bit more worried about this one is a few offensive linemen that are injured, some different things on that on the Jets. Yeah, we have like 4 offensive linemen injured.
He's still taking them to win.
But that some of those linemen though were playing in the second half when we put up, you know, 3 straight scoring drives and touchdowns. So I'm picking them to win. It's just to pick them. So I get to root for my team, and hopefully they win.
I'd like to do nothing with this game, so I went on the under because I never bet the under. And why not?
Yeah, no, I get that.
I had to put my little dot somewhere. And
Yeah,
that's where it went.
Right, you can't say nothing.
Something non-offensive to you and how I truly feel about that game.
My lock of the week, the Eagles taking on the Cowboys in a divisional matchup. Cowboys are without, we talked about it, Dak Prescott out, CeeDee Lamb questionable. The Eagles right now are on a roll, right? They have won 4 straight games. They're 4th in the league in point differential, 6th total offense, 11th in scoring. Saquon Barkley, I mean, everybody saw that crazy play where he jumped over a guy backwards after a spin move. He's got 3 straight 100-yard games.
Yeah, I'd like to interrupt you for 1 second because you say the Eagles have been on a roll. I feel like it's more Saquon has been on a roll for the Eagles.
Well, yeah, but you know that helps them, right? So they won all those games straight. Jalen Hurts, 59 straight attempts without an interception. Hope I didn't jinx him on that one. But they're putting up 30-something points in the last 4 games in a row. So you got to imagine against the Cowboys team that's without their quarterback and potentially a little bit of a wide receiver. They might have Micah Parsons back, but I don't care on this one. The 7 points, you take it. They're probably going to win by 20.
I totally agree. I mean, the Cowboys have not been doing well with everybody. Now you're taking half of them out. Nope, not good. Eagles is where the money's at, along with the Steelers. Follow our locks.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, then we're both on the next one, Lions at the Texans. I know I'm always with the Lions, but their record shows it tends to happen. -3.5. Texans are just like, Diggs is never coming back this season. Nico Collins might be off, but we're not sure.
Yeah, he might be helping them back, helping the Texans, but
The Lions beat the Packers 24-14. Not like a crazy score, but again, a win. And Dan Campbell, as we've been seeing, has no mercy. He wants to win as much as possible. He'll do whatever it takes, and I love that man for it. -3.5, I think, is a silly low spread. Definitely taking it.
And don't forget, the Jets just beat the Texans. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just saying there's a possibility the Lions are a little bit better than the Jets, but, you know, you can take that and
Yes.
do what you want with it. That's Sunday Night Football action.
Ooh, Monday night. Monday Night Football. We've got the Fish at the Rams. Rams looking better.
Oh, yeah. Their Rams are actually starting to put some things together, getting healthier, you know. I mean, it was a big ad when Puka came off, but it was listening to Sean McVay on TV with an interview, and they were saying, man, you know, like, what do you guys think about injuries and this and that? And he's almost like, good thing that Puka got thrown out because he didn't have to play that much, and he can let his knee heal up a little bit more. So it's an interesting little side note. But you got to imagine the Rams are going to beat the Dolphins on this one, huh?
I mean, listen, the Dolphins with Tua, you're not really sure yet because he just came back, but I believe enough that they will, and that's why I'm betting on the Rams.
Yep. I agree on that one. Yeah, we both looked at this one and said, wait a minute, shouldn't it be like Rams -3.5, 4?
A little low on that spread.
Yep. Yeah, I'm on it. So we'll see what happens on that Monday Night Football. But that's it. And just to wrap it up, got a lot of bets this week. All right, so I'll just roll through. The first one is the Ravens, and it's going to be Ravens -5.5 points versus the Bengals, and that's on Thursday Night Football. I think, like, you know, Derrick Henry, Lamar, all the weapons ain't going to happen, especially without T. Higgins and some other, and Zach Moss and all that. then you're on the lock.
I didn't know if you were still talking. Yes, my lock, Steelers plus 2.5 versus Commanders. I can't believe they're getting points against the Commanders. That's why it's my lock of the week.
Yep. And then we're the Broncos. I was going to say we because I feel like maybe you would join me on that one, but I agree that the Bills.
I'm not wasting my time with the Chiefs.
Yep. So again, I'll bet against Patrick Mahomes and bet that he doesn't cover at least. He doesn't have to win. Bet those Broncos plus the 8.
And I'm taking the Falcons -4 versus the Saints because the Saints are just a shit show right now all over the place. Falcons are looking better and better each week. So definitely feel like this is a easy spread to cover.
Yep, and I'm on the Patriots, Bears, and the under 39 points because both offenses are inept.
Boring. But I got the Chargers -7.5 versus the Titans, along with both of us who have the over in that same game, 39. Low over, so that should be nice. And I think the Chargers will dominate in this game. So my 7.5 spread should be pretty easy.
Yep, and I'm a forever hopeful fan, and I believe that the Jets will beat the Cardinals and keep our hope alive. Hopefully, the line will be not banged up. And the next game is going to be my lock, the Eagles, -7 points versus the Cowboys without Dak Prescott and have a banged up CeeDee Lamb.
And then, we're on a bunch of stuff this week together.
Yeah.
I got the line. We've got the Lions -3.5 versus the Texans because the Lions are the fucking Lions and the Texans do not look that great. And then we're both on the Rams, -1 versus the Dolphins, Monday Night Football. It seems too easy.
I agree. Yep. That's it for the week, folks. So everybody enjoy your long Veterans Day weekend. And remember why you're off. And shout out to all the veterans out there. And hope you all win money on your bets. You know, I'm ready for a snapback week. So not only did I bet everything that I said I was going to bet, I put them all in a parlay plus 18,000. So we'll see what happens.
Go Bills.
Go Jets. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Couple of bettors.
I want to make money. Couple of bettors.
Couple of bettors.